Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you.
Well, like most of you.
The select few.
Yeah. Like the select, the chosen.
Yeah, the 40 chosen.
Yeah. Baby.
That's right. You know who you are.
Yeah.
Unless you decreased your amount this month.
Can't have that.
No, I don't like it. No, that's a bad sign. It's the first step.
Just thinking for yourself.
I don't appreciate
That's
it.
not what our Patreon's about.
No, it's about this.
It's about fealty.
Yeah, including things like this. We have a review.
Hey.
That's fealty right there.
Nice.
Well, let's read it first, actually.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I guess we should figure out if it's actually good.
Yeah. I just mean, and what level of good.
Right. It'd be funny if someone wrote a 5-star review that was just like, this is a piece of shit. Just so, because they know we won't.
There are
Check
podcasts
in
that
advance.
do that. There are podcasts that ask their fan bases to do that because they're like, all that matters is your 5-star.
That's true.
So, or like roast me in the.
I'm actually not sure that's true anymore. I'm pretty sure there's an algorithm that actually looks at the
really?
reviews. Yeah.
Interesting. 5-star each is a butthole for how much this sucks. 5 chocolate stars.
And the hot dog
Flavored water. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see if this person mentions Limp Bizkit at all.
Let's keep rolling. Over to this.
God, I'm so glad I hired you. just paying me back in full. 5-star review number 112 from Apple Podcasts USA. From Tis Neo Star.
Right.
Cool. Is that like a Jesus thing? I don't know.
Yeah, in the Matrix. The 3 wise agents saw the Tis Neo Star and went, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Ander Jesus.
Humanity's a virus.
It's a great movie.
God, it's so good.
I don't want them to be making this new one.
I actually think it's probably going to be good.
Really?
I feel like it'll be better than 3.
I mean, well, yeah, that's all
That's all I need. I like 2.
Yeah, fair. With the subject, Best DC Comics Podcast to Learn and Laugh. Very specific parameters.
Yeah. Nothing outside.
Yeah, no. If you're looking specifically to learn and laugh.
Not or.
No.
If you just want to learn,
this is not the one for you.
keep walking.
Yeah, that's right. You're not going to enjoy anything.
If you just want to laugh, you won't.
No thanks, buddy.
This is like a gentle edutainment of DC Comics.
Yeah. We're the jazz jackrabbit of podcasts.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. What?
We're going to teach you the comics math, baby. They go on to say, ever wanted to learn about the wonderful world of DC that isn't completely... Well, easy, buddy. Fucking taking our taglines here. It's copyright infringement.
I mean, come on, man. Let's just get the nice review out. You know?
You'll be hearing from my lawyers. Chris?
No, he charges too much. We can't afford Chris.
Shit, never mind. Oh, shit, I said his name. Invoking his name is a charge.
Damn it. This is billable.
Yeah, for an hour at least. God damn it. That isn't completely related to the DCEU. Fear not, this podcast has everything a listener would need. Entertaining hosts, informational episodes, as well as love for DC Comics. The episodes vary from an hour to 2. I mean,
they used to vary to 3.
Yeah.
And I think in one case to 4.
Yeah. What episode was that?
Now, it was an annual number 2 is like 4.5 hours. It's
but it's a lot of filler.
too long.
Yeah. It's a lot of bullshit. You can skip through
that one. Was a lot of bullshit, actually.
My favorite episode would have to be...
Sorry, this is a tangent. I also think it was so long that we gave up on the editing partway through and stuff is out of order. Like we say something is happening, but it already happened.
Yeah.
And we've never bothered to go back and fix it. Annual number 2 is a true shit show. It's too long and out of order.
Wow.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's our podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah,
that's a perfect annual.
God, we are Canadian Podcast Award nominees. We'll get to that after.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. My favorite episode would have to be the Boy Wonder episode where they discuss the Robins. On that note, this podcast has a variety of great episodes to choose from, as well as they update their podcast pretty often. Professor Marvel, what? Working my way toward that PhD. Well, that's a smiley face, but it looked like PhD.
Yeah. That PH and D.
Yeah.
What's the PH of your
I'm going to
D?
put that D in the PH.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that actually works. Oh, no.
What's the PH of your D? Is it basic?
My pH balance?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's salty. So that was a review. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Tis Neostar.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Tis Neostar, this angelic kind of name.
Hang on. I don't want to jump into it yet. I want to take a little bit of time because this is the first episode we've recorded since it happened.
Oh, yeah.
We were nominated for the Canadian Podcast Awards in 3 categories.
We are on lists that aren't getting us in trouble.
This is an industry award that, frankly, I've submitted us to every year.
Really?
And we never make it.
And now we're on 3?
For some reason this year, so many people nominated us that we are in the top 5 for Outstanding Art Series, Outstanding Leisure Series, and craziest.
Yeah.
Both Dr. DC and Ghostfacers are in the Outstanding Comedy Series, which means we are 40% of the potentially funniest podcasts in Canada.
I mean, that's
statistically, that's what that means.
That's fucking hilarious.
Isn't that wild?
That's insane.
What a sweet surprise, though. What a nice treat that, like, clearly people are enjoying us, and people that also make their own podcasts, which is always kind of nice.
Yeah, we're the podcast.
Not like you non-podcasted mouth breathers.
That's right. Yeah. So apparently, if you want to vote for us, if you have a podcast,
if you have a Canadian podcast, if you are a Canadian podcaster, because it's the industry thing, you can sign up, like register with it's canpodawards.ca, and you can give us votes in those categories. You can help us out. But what a cool, weird thing to have happened.
God, I mean, I had respect for this awards before.
Yeah, but now they nominated us.
Yeah, I thought they were legitimate, but
I almost don't want to win it now.
Ugh.
That's not true.
Please, God.
That's not true. It's the only thing I want.
Yeah, I believe I did say on CBC that all I do with this for is the recognition.
Yes, in an interview, you said, we do this for the recognition, which is very funny to me. Yeah.
I think I also said later we did it for the money too.
Yes. I mean, both of which are so categorically untrue.
Well, I mean,
or if they are true, we're doing a poor job.
That's more real, I think.
And also, if you're a fan of Haven't Seen It podcast, quick shout out. Also on the Brain Freeze Network.
That's right.
They are nominated for Outstanding Main Title Theme.
That's right. And if they win, that's kind of like I win too. So that's great.
Yeah, because we produce them. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're our underlings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're their podfathers.
Ooh, yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you have a podcast in Canada, vote for us.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Let's make them rue the day they ever put us on this. Before we were just like they needed to fill space, and now they're like, well, they're not going to win.
I will say, having listened to some of the other podcasts we're nominated against, certainly in the arts and leisure categories, they're so polite and like sweet, and we come right out of the gate with like, you fucking cuck, Superman sucking a D. We're like, we are so vile compared to the other things that are nominated, like across the board.
Yeah,
vile.
A lot of them are like very good intentions, like doing things that are good for the world and
then us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were taking up 40% of one of the categories.
Crazy.
With like really a homoerotic content.
I mean, if there's a thing that we are good at, it's that.
Yeah, I'm in a desert and I am thirsty, and the only parchment I can get is from Dean.
Parchment? You're going to write
the only way I can be parched. Nope.
No, you are parched.
I am parched.
You want to quench the
quench
thirst.
my thirst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Dean to just quench my neck.
Quench my neck.
It sounds, I think, suitably dirty without making too much sense.
But yeah, it doesn't actually mean anything. Yeah. I like that. Much like this podcast.
Yeah. At any rate, I just wanted to get that out there because we hadn't recorded since it happened.
That's true.
And so I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing that's happening, and
it's wild.
Let's make them.
It both feels incredibly dumb that we got nominated, but it's also like I'm weirdly proud of it.
It's vindicating.
Yeah,
we finally have a reason for doing this for this whole time.
Finally.
Ugh, we were on the edge.
Next week was going to be Sweet Release.
Yeah, that's it. We were so close. But if we don't win. Oh, that's not
There
true.
won't be an annual number 4 if we don't.
So it depends how you feel about this podcast.
Oh. Oh, I don't like where this went.
Working for or against us, depending on what you're looking for.
This is a real Jason Todd scenario.
Yeah, let's get them to vote to kill us.
Yeah, it's either hashtag Dr. DC win or hashtag kill yourselves. And,
wow. And not even Dr. DC in there, just hashtag kill yourself?
Just us.
Wow. People will know what it means.
He's so subtle.
Well, we're talking about Dean. Speaking of heavenly figures,
a place we won't go if we kill ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Speaking of,
yeah, I feel like we're purgatory pals.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not good enough for heaven.
No, or hell. I mean,
yeah, I'm not bad enough for hell.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, purgatory. That's where we're going.
Yeah,
with the Leviathan. We can talk about it here.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, we got 4 more years before we can talk about it.
Do you think we're going to meet a Benny in there?
Oh, Benny.
Oh,
yeah, my name is Benny. Everyone's Logan from the Bayou if you're not from basically anywhere the south of America. Not South America.
Oh, you think you could do a Benny voice? Or...
We were recording a radio ad yesterday, and I got very close to slipping into that
You were
voice.
trying to do like a Sam Elliott, like Silverado, kind of Silverado, Chevy Silverado. Right. And at one point, you kind of went like, Oh, you think you can leave the army? It was that close. It was so fucking close.
Yeah, you almost broke. It was funny.
Very funny to me.
So this week's theme is heaven.
Yeah.
Like heaven.
Yeah.
Angel.
Find a way to make Angel of Harlem keep coming back.
Angel. Yeah. Angel of mine.
Or Angel of Mine.
Yeah.
Thinking about all of your good years.
You're my angel, darling.
Yeah.
Angel.
Wow.
Like my something.
Closer than my peeps you are to
Well, you know the
me.
words.
Yeah.
Rah.
Well, life is one big party when you're still young.
It's close. It's problematic territory.
Well, who's going to have your back when
that
it's
works.
all done?
Yeah, that works. Yeah. Who's going to have your back when it's all done? Pick him up from army.
Don't be a fool, son. What about the long run?
That's what a penny's worth.
Christ almighty.
We're
Sorry to all of the new listeners jumping on now.
Oh, they didn't make it this far. We're talking about the pearly gates, talking about heaven in this episode.
We're talking about heaven in DC, which definitively exists.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
part
a real
of, Morrison's multiverse map.
Morrison made the map of the. I mean, it was in stories and stuff, but then it was like
Morrison
canonically given a spot when they made that map of the multiverse.
Morrison as God created heaven.
I mean, I am willing to believe that, like metaphysically,
in DC at least,
or in the real world.
Yeah,
I'm willing to believe that.
Oh, heaven's just a little bit like a I can't do it. Nope.
Alone in my swamp, that's the real heaven.
There it is.
It's me, Shrek Morrison.
I hope that some of these, I hope people are voting the real judges for this awards.
Vote with your heart. Give it to the swamp.
And they get you this, and they're like, "What the fuck is this even about?"
We've been listening for 15 minutes, and they have not gotten to the topic.
The only way that you can actually vote for this podcast is you have to listen to 240 episodes,
and then you go "Oh, I get it,"
and I don't like it.
Yeah, I still don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I see how they got here.
Yeah, and it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's bad content. We got a lot of questions.
We got so many questions. I hope all of the questions are just about, do you think I'll get it?
No. None of you. You listen to this podcast. That was the...
Yeah.
We're the
We should have
snake.
had a priest as a guest to see
Ooh.
if canonically DC's heaven is like the real one.
Aren't we enough on enough watch lists as it is?
Hello, Mr. Priest. Could you read a bunch of children's books and tell us if heaven is real?
Oh, I've already done that.
Uh-oh.
I call it.
No.
It's research material. Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right. Let's get into Facebook.
Let's do it. Go do the face and the book. Go do the Facebook.
That's right. First question comes from Josh Gill.
Oh, sexy Gill.
Yeah, all the way. I'm not sure to where, but all the way.
Right.
Not half. That's not the way Gill does. Fills it to the brim.
To the gills.
That's right.
Gilled to the brim.
My eyeballs are floating. Fill me to the gills.
Jesus Christ.
We all know hashtag Alfred Begins is not is heaven. Wait, what? Is not is heaven.
I don't remember if I transcribed that incorrectly or
How are you transcribing them? Don't you just copy and paste?
No, I write them because I don't like all the formatting changes that happen
So
when
you
copy
read
from-
it and cut it? And,
Yeah, I write it, yeah.
That seems like the harder way to do that.
It's not how I work for you,
Could you just copy it and then paste without formatting?
but I don't like that. You think you're the only one that cares about formatting?
I care so much about
Yeah.
I did a whole fucking presentation about formatting. I care a lot about it.
This episode is so fucking off the rails. We get nominated and immediately collapse.
Yeah. It's too
The pressure's too much.
Too much.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, no, this is what we call self-sabotage.
This is the sophomore album like kind of slump. you know?
Yeah, this is the second record 241 episodes in.
Yeah.
We all know Alfred Begins is not in heaven.
I assume.
But OG Alfred, question mark. Do you think he is at peace as Don Hall in heaven?
Right. So yeah, our version of Alfred.
Yes.
Certainly not in heaven.
I don't
Unless-
I don't understand. I've done nothing wrong. So what
Although I will say I have some photos, some incriminating photos of St. Peter. I figure I'll show up at the pearly gates. I'll tell him if he doesn't want these
what
photos.
do you mean you got some incriminating photos
If
of
he
me?
doesn't want these photos to surface, he'll let me in the gates. I'll go into heaven, and then I'll probably just freely distribute them anyway. I don't want him just holding that over me.
Look, it was a talking goat, so it could say yes.
Oh no, Jesus,
What?
that's the first place you went.
Well, no, that's not the first place I went.
Bestiality,
That's actually
St. Peter.
That was the better one.
This is the censored version.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
One of the podcasts I listened to was someone just sincerely talking about how she admires somebody.
In the comedy section.
Yeah, we've already talked about St. Peter fucking a goat.
Prove me wrong. Prove that's not what happened. Also, that wasn't me talking. That was St. Peter. You could tell because the voice changed. So impeccable.
Yeah. The actual Alfred from the comics.
Yeah.
From the main continuity.
That's right.
Was killed. Bane snapped his neck.
Gee, didn't even go for the back.
No, that's old news. He's done it before.
Mm.
Do we think that Alfred's in heaven?
I mean, yeah. He killed a lot of people in war probably, but
He's just following orders. Oh, no, they're not all in heaven. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow, you really painted a very specific life view.
God, I hope the judges don't listen to this.
I think, I would say he's redeemed himself, but he's also, like, supported a mentally ill person, like, hurting mentally ill people.
I think worse people in DC have gone to heaven.
That's your parameter?
So I think he's there.
The bar is low enough that he can get in?
Yeah. They're fucking letting anybody in there. There are some weird rules in DC's heaven where, like, someone can vouch for you and get you in if
Really?
you otherwise don't qualify.
What?
Some shit like that. Yeah. So I think he's there. Yeah. And also partly because I think they need someone to do the dishes. He's a butler in heaven.
His version of heaven, he's still a butler.
He's buttling. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was his dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Short answer, I do think the actual Alfred would be in heaven in DC.
Wow.
Even though his body was resurrected during death metal by Black Lantern Batman, like zombie Alfred fights in the big final battle against like the Multiverse Who Laughs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of awesome.
It's kind of dope.
Yeah. So as Don Hall is apparently.
Oh,
Also...
right. Sorry, that's the other piece. Right. Yeah. So Don Hall is the first character to have been the first person to have been Dove of Hawk and Dove.
Yes,
it's Hank and Don Hall. They're brothers, and Hawk is like an avatar of war / chaos because they get their powers from the Lords of Order and Chaos. And Don Hall was an agent of peace / order. He dies in Crisis on Infinite Earths number 12, and never comes back. A different Dawn Granger, a female, takes over as Dove. And then later when Hank goes bad and then dies, then Dawn's sister, Holly Granger, becomes the new Hawk. So it goes from being two brothers to being like male and female partners to being two sisters. And then the most recent continuity is back to being Hank Hall and Dawn Granger. But the thing with Dawn Hall is during Blackest Night, when all of these characters were being reanimated, again, their souls weren't coming back. Their bodies were being reanimated and stuff like that. But even Dawn's body couldn't be reanimated because he was at peace. Like the Black Lantern rings would try and attach and they'd bounce off and it would say Dawn Hall at peace, Dawn Hall at peace, Dawn Hall at peace.
Wow.
So he so embodied the idea of peace that like when death happened, he was just chill with it. So Dawn is just dead.
Wow.
And I know it's comics, but ideally he stays that way. I think he's a fringe enough, quote unquote, character that there's not really a good reason to bring him back.
Yeah.
You can make the arguments about whether or not they should have brought back Barry or Hal or whatever, but you also kind of get it. Like if you grew up on those comics, they were huge characters. You bring them back eventually.
Yeah.
Don Hall, I think we can leave him there, and I think that's powerful in its own way, especially because comics generally are so willy-nilly with death. It's neat to see some, not for everyone, but there's some version of permanence. There's still a little risk or a little reward in the case of Don for all of those years of heroing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next question from Felicia Bailey Cashin, who asks, who's your heavenly overrated / underrated character?
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know if I know that many heavenly characters.
I mean,
does Spectre count?
Yeah, Spectre definitely counts. So the Spectre is the spirit of
underrated
God's vengeance,
Yeah.
who is tied to the soul of a human host.
It's hard to say.
So
that
the
he's
human
underrated,
host
but
is
he's
not
underrated.
the human host is not alive.
Yeah.
They're always dead,
Yeah.
but it's a human soul to sort of ground
Yeah.
them, because without that spirit of vengeance has a tendency to go kind of haywire.
I know he's a fairly major character, but it still feels like maybe in like larger media underrated.
Right, like in the broad popular culture sense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you think of like how absolutely insane his power scope is.
Which maybe it's just he's been kept out of stuff because it's just too much to work with. I don't know.
There's also something just very, very chilling about a character that kind of violent and cruel who gets his powers from God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, DC does not kind of
shy away.
Does not like sometimes when God shows up, you get a lot of that like it's a plan. You don't need to know it. You can't conceive it. It's a plan. They kind of do that softening thing, but like there's some serious Old Testament kind of shit in the comics in the case of the Spectre, who you brought up, I've mentioned this before, there's a story where he doesn't have a host and he goes crazy. He's convinced to just basically attack all of magic. He's going to kill all magic because he sees it as sin. And the only way they beat him is by helping him destroy like magic.
Yeah.
Turns out you can't destroy magic. You could just break all its rules. And when that happens, it basically like gets God's attention. Kind of like God like turned on the stove and walked away to do something else, and then he turned around and he's like, "Oh, fuck the pierogies," and he like had to run back. So you're like, God doesn't pay attention, which is a pretty bleak thing for a comic book to say. It's like God exists and he is not paying attention. He doesn't care.
Very supernatural way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, very. A lot of parallels to the relationship of God with God between Supernatural and DC. Yeah, Spectre's a great example of, like, in pop culture, pretty underknown. He's a member. He's like a charter member of the Justice Society, or maybe not charter, but he's a member of the Justice Society. He's like an old school original hero who's been around like almost 80 or 80 years by this point. You know, big character.
The presence overrated.
Yeah. I think similarly in terms of pop culture, Phantom Stranger.
Oh,
very kind of underrated. I think people that
I don't.
I think if you read enough DC comics, you start to appreciate Phantom Stranger. He sort of pops up here and there, and you go like, "Oh man, this guy." I dig him. I like his thing. I like that he kind of shows up, that he can't fully intervene, but he kind of wants to help. But he has this vast celestial power, but it's like, what is he allowed to use it for?
Yeah.
Like, the rules of him are always so murky and stuff. Like, he's got a cool design, the sort of fedora and the suit with the cape kind of thing. Very kind of like a pulpy, almost like the Shadow kind of look to him, you know.
Is there anybody overrated? Like, because how much is Heaven that prevalent? Like, besides characters like Spectre, like,
I mean, overrated. God is overrated.
Yeah, I mean,
really, when you think about all the times that, like, existence itself gets undone, and God still is just like, I'll let you guys.
Yeah.
How about Wonder Woman saves the day?
Yeah.
Not fucking me.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, it's a little silly. It's like watching your house burn down and expecting your dogs to put it out. It's like basically what God does every time there's a crisis.
It's true.
Yeah.
And yet the dogs,
like, yeah, fine. God can just get another house, but, like, what about the dogs? But, like,
somehow the dogs fix it. Somehow the dogs go back in time and fix it.
Yeah, somehow the dogs made the house better than it was.
Yeah.
And then one time, way worse than it was. But then they found a way to get the parts of the house that we liked and put them back in that house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dogs are crazy, man.
Yeah.
I like where we landed here.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right.
Let's leave Facebook and head on over to Twitter.
Twitter.
First question. It's the worst superhero combo: a not-for-profit and a medieval soldier. It's Org and Knight. Come on. I haven't done one of these in so long. This is top notch.
That felt too much like work.
Painful and caused by me. Nice. The plan's working. It's coming together perfectly.
Oh, Oregon Night. It's been a while.
It has. Too long. Let's see what they have to say. Does the type of afterlife you end up in depend on your faith, or does all righteous characters go to heaven? I got scared for a second.
Right. I think.
I was like, is this just a general life question? Because I am not prepared for this.
So there's a little bit of gray area here.
Yeah.
So heaven is part of the structure of the multiverse, or the way it was, at least. We don't have a definitive new map for the Omniverse.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I assume certain things still work the same way.
Yeah.
In the map of the multiverse, you have, like, the orrery of worlds is where all the parallel Earths are.
Yeah.
And then above that is this plane of existence that's more about ideas, concepts. It's not necessarily like a room in a building. It's more like the idea of it. So like each of those worlds would have access to this higher plane. They might have their own little section of it. But you could also maybe get at other worlds through it, because it's sort of this overarching concept. Mm-hmm. That's a very not helpful way to describe it.
Yeah, if you go to our website, go back 2 years, you'll find an article about this.
It's more than 2 years. So heaven and hell are specific parts of the sphere of the gods.
Yeah.
But so are these things called Skyland and Underworld. Now, Skyland and
Underworld. Spyro one of those?
Yeah. Skyland and Underworld are meant to be, I mean, to put politely, the other religion.
Oh.
You know, like Skyland is the dimension.
Well, we talked, we did a religious episode like in year 1 or something.
Yeah.
In there, we talked about like it is a Christian comics, like. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're writing it, you're writing the presence, the way you get around it is you say just like the presence is a being, but it could be just the way we perceive it. It could also be that sort of Hindu thing where it's like we can't actually perceive what the creator is.
They do so many other Christian like centric stuff.
If we're being honest with ourselves,
DC's Christian.
It's like the Abrahamic God, basically. But Skyland is the dimension where you would find like Olympus, and Underworld is the dimension where you would find.
On a roll.
Yeah, Underworld is where you would find like the Phantom Zone. It's also where you would find like Hades.
Yeah,
but Hades.
Yeah, babe.
But Hades is all of death, which means like there's an Elysian Fields, like kind of ancient Greek heaven there. You would also have your Tartarus and stuff there.
Great for fish sticks.
But then why isn't, you would say like, are the Elysian Fields really more like Skyland, or do they count as a heaven?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a little bit of murkiness. Like, are we only talking about Olympus as being part of these things? And maybe we say Tartarus is like a jail, so they get to be in those other dimensions. But for the citizens of ancient Greece, you go to the heaven hell dimension, but you maybe instead of meeting Jesus, you meet like whatever.
Come on.
Can't think of a Greek name.
Jesus.
Jesus. Jesus Christos.
Yeah, there we go. We nailed it.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think I prefer a version where heaven is not only the sort of Christian heaven.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like, I think it's a Aztec thing, the idea of the 13 heavens. I like the idea that that's an adjacent sort of part of that heaven dimension as opposed to being in Skyland. But I think I'm wrong.
So
I
only
think
13 religions are allowed through, unless you get less like
the 13 heavens is all Aztec.
Oh, okay.
It's like I think it's like a tiered thing.
So you could go to a better heaven depending on what you've done.
I think the line
I'm
between
gonna kill everybody in like the 12th heaven to get to the 13th.
The idea of looking at
it's like the raid.
The idea of looking to any writer, and saying like, can you answer this insane metaphysical question about where our souls go when we die? And them just going, it's this, and it's just clean and easy, is sort of silly. But the line between like why there's a heaven and hell in the sphere of the gods, but also Skyland and Underworld, which seem to be these all-encompassing kind of things, is like, it's like, we live in a Christian multiverse, apparently. So to get to the question, I do think generally your faith is a factor in the DC universe. I think if you are Jewish and practicing or whatever in DC, you are kind of maybe judged on that metric. You know what I mean? And then you go to heaven.
Oh, I thought you meant like lesser religions get to go to worse parts.
Well, no, but I mean, if you are First Nations, you get to go meet the creator or what. I'm saying that I don't know if that's the belief. I'm speaking out of turn here.
No, speak for a nation.
But you know what I mean. Like and other gods are out there. We know there are Aztec gods and Greek gods and Norse gods and Celtic gods and stuff like that. So we know that they're out there. I do think your soul would tend to go to those places, but it also applies to people that don't believe in things. If you're atheist, you don't go straight to hell.
Yeah.
Like there are people that probably would never describe themselves as Christian who make it to heaven.
Yeah.
Also, weird little thing here. We're going to talk about it in a little bit because there's a question about it. But Superman and Pa Kent basically meet in heaven.
Really?
Essentially, when Superman dies. But shouldn't Superman maybe meet... I mean, he grows up on Earth, so that makes a certain degree of sense. But also, where the fuck is Rao?
Oh.
Where is the Kryptonian sun god?
Yeah. Well, I think he's more from Earth than he is from Krypton.
I mean, totally. And maybe that's the metric on which he's judged. But shouldn't Rao at least be like... Hey, good job. Good. Have fun. Have fun in Earth Heaven.
It's fine. You should be over.
Like, so Rao is in Skyland.
Yeah.
There's Kronmir for Mars.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is where the line gets super blurry. I think the best way to think about it is just your faith is a factor. It's not the only factor, and also because the sphere of the gods is just full of these realms that are more concepts than anything. different beings can move between them, right?
Yeah.
An angel from heaven can probably go and visit Olympus. Someone from Martian whatever can go and hang out over here. You know, like I think it's a little more amorphous, a little less rigid than the idea of parallel Earths or something like that.
Do you think,
which is a huge cop-out, but also, like, please let it be a cop-out. Like, we can't have too rigid a rule for the afterlife.
Do you think that, like, when atheists show up, the presence is like, hey, come on in, but you feel stupid, don't you?
Yeah. Told you so.
Well, you know, maybe you should have made some other choices. You get to go to this part.
Yeah.
You still get to go to heaven, but
the pool smells like
it's
pig.
it's like when you go to like a Carnival cruise line. It's like, but the buffet closes at 6.
Lower decks?
Yeah.
The heavens lower decks?
Yeah. You get to come in, but like, yeah, you don't get to go to the after shows. The
Right.
buffet closes at 6
Oh, this
p.m.
is not an all access pass.
No. The drinks cost a little bit of something.
Yeah. You're flying economy.
Next question comes from Alexander the Alex. Let's get past that. Are there...
Maybe one day he'll be the great.
Yeah, Alexander the not so great. That's the next...
literally the only thing they can say legally is that they are an Alex.
Yeah, bar none.
Yeah, definitively.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not cool enough to get a short form. You're just Alexander. Alexander the Alex asks, are there any prevalent characters where religion is a big part of their character? Kind of like Daredevil in Marvel. I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, Dari Deville?
Yeah. Daredevil?
I mean, Daredevil is kind of an outlier in Marvel because
religion doesn't really like...
Even though lots of characters are Christian, Daredevil is Catholic.
Yeah.
And specifically Catholicism is big in those comics in a way that, like, that is seldom true in other ones. Even if you're drawing on Catholic lore or things like that, generally comics don't go hyper specific that way. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever goes like, Black Canary's Episcopalian or like whatever the like. That doesn't happen a lot. So Daredevil's sort of interesting in Marvel for being that specific. In DC, there are absolutely characters whose religions are key and important to them. A character who is somehow important to this podcast, Ragman.
That's right. Not sure where that came up, but
Ragman is canonically Jewish. You know, his suit of souls and stuff like that. It's riffing on the idea of golems and all sorts of things, right? The Jewish heritage and lore of that character is rooted, right? You can't do Ragman without him being Jewish. Rory Regan is Jewish. Batwoman Kate Kane is Jewish. Do her stories
revolve around that?
Is it as central as it is for Ragman? I would say no, but I also don't think it's not something. I think it's something a lot of writers maybe overlook if they just aren't writing a holiday special or something like that. But I do think it's in there and should be explored. I mean, here's where it gets kind of dicey for me is that I don't know enough about some other religious practices. I don't know if the idea of katana and the soul taker sword is connected to Shinto or Taoism or anything like that. Like the idea of that sword trapping souls or what happens to you when you die or if you die in battle or those. I have no idea. It could be. Yeah. If that is part of it, then I would argue that katana, that's a big part. But they never also in a katana comic say like she's Shinto or something like that. So it can only be so important if you never say it, you know? Mm-hmm. I mean, belief in God and stuff like that is certainly a thing for lots of characters. And the gods being patrons of powers is big for lots of characters, but that's not the same as it being like religion being important to them, right? Mm-hmm. Ragman to me is the big example. Simon Baz is Muslim. It's a big part of his origin is rooted in that kind of stuff. I don't know that it comes up a lot since, but maybe it should. you know?
There's not a lot of characters who are doing things based on like religious like actions or anything like that.
I mean, some, you know, you look at Constantine, the conjurations in that of magic, at least for Constantine, a lot of them have some biblical overtones or things like that. He's not always just being like, here's a random word.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, he's like doing the like in nomine Patre. It's like Constantine goes into that, you know, and the character's name is not an accident, right?
Yeah.
The Emperor Constantine is the one that like officially adopted Christianity as the religion of the Roman Empire.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason his name is that. You know?
It's interesting though that like a character like the Spectre or something like that like isn't actually that overly
right. Like is
religious.
Jim Corrigan religious?
Yeah,
Not really.
no.
Was Hal Jordan?
But
No.
also like religion doesn't come into the comics that much even that he's in. Like
no, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like he is an arm of a religious entity, but not necessarily like.
And again, even if the Spectre quotes verse or something, that's not the same as it being like Crispus Allen was a holy man. You get to be the Spectre. That's not really how it works.
No.
There is a sort of divorce there. And I don't know if there's like, if that's a comics code kind of remnant that it just carried over, or if that's deliberate to be like, we don't want to get into the weeds here, even though comics are political and you should get in the weeds, or if it's just that people think it's just understood and I honestly am not sure.
Is like I do wonder like do you think they steer away from it intentionally, like from religion, like
yeah, I think sometimes
keeping it vague enough that
I think sometimes too, especially because this is a world that does definitively have like, yes, the afterlife exists. Yes, a bunch of religions are right. And also says, but ultimately, is that as powerful as like these science fiction things like the Source and, you know, like the Omniverse, like the hands of the Omniverse and stuff like that. Like, it's a complicated like metaphysical structure in comics, so maybe they just stay away from it.
What about Resurrection Man? It's like
No, I mean, Resurrection Man, it comes back because of technology.
Yeah.
It's Tektites that bring him back and give him a new superpower every time. And I also think when religion comes up, sometimes it's a character going like, I used to believe in God, but I've seen too much. You know, like they use it for that. There are characters who are definitively atheist. Mr. Terrific is a good example. Mm-hmm. He's definitively an atheist. He is an atheist. He believes there is no God.
Yeah.
In a world that definitively has a God.
Yeah.
Actually has multiple gods, but there's also a God.
Yeah, in that world, he's the one that's like ignoring science.
But Mr. Terrific's, I think, ultimate point is like, just because you come from a different plane of existence or that you have powers doesn't make you deity.
Yeah.
Like Superman's not a god, but he like...
They like to pitch him as a god.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think Mr. Terrific's thing is like, no one is controlling my destiny. I have free will. I don't care how powerful you are. That's not the same thing as God.
Yeah, I'll say you're powerful.
You didn't bring me into existence. You, like, I define my own thing, you know?
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really interesting, like, direction to go with a book in general. Is just to, like...
Yeah.
That's a book I would read.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You know? I mean... It's a made-up religion, but you could argue that the new gods all worship the Source. For them, that's actually like a thing.
Yeah,
like, it actually comes up a lot in their character is like, consulting the Source, which is a form of prayer. Or, you know, like, I know it's a made-up religion, but of all of the characters in DC, some of the ones who show their religious zeal the most are the new gods, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, even with like mother boxes and stuff, they often will treat them like religious entities.
Well, yeah, because they're sentient machines powered by the Source. It's like, it would be like getting like an iPhone with the voice of God and kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah, or just like the Holy Grail and things like that. Like,
it does. It has like the idea of like relics and stuff like that. There are characters. I'm glossing over it. Lots of characters will probably somewhere in a comic have said, I believe in X God, or I believe in Y religion.
Yeah.
But how important it is to their character, I think generally is pretty low for many.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next question from Spray dog. The donkey rises, my friends.
Oh, the donkey rises.
Yeah.
Hee-haw.
Any other?
No, all right.
Okay. Who asks, have any of the DC characters who have died and returned to life experienced heaven? How did they describe it? So like when Barry Allen comes back, does he talk about... I mean, he went to the Speed Force.
He went to the Speed Force.
Which is kind of like a heaven for him.
But the Speed Force is meant to be like the heaven for speedsters.
Yeah.
That when you've served your time, you sublimate into the Speed Force and you become part of the Speed Force.
And the Speed Force in the map is that part of that?
It's the wall between the orrery of worlds and the sphere of the gods.
So it's almost like purgatory.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's meant to be
More positive than that.
more positive than that. But yeah, it's almost like a...
Like you didn't get all the way there.
yeah.
You did fuck with
It's
time.
a separate
so...
but equal heaven.
No. Look, you fuck with time. You don't get to heaven. But look, we got this place for speedsters.
It's funny when you put it that way. Yeah. So Barry's a bit different. I mean, Hal, Oliver Queen, Green Arrow,
Those are people who've come back.
and have definitively, canonically been in heaven.
And have they talked about heaven?
I think in the Green Arrow one, because Hal tries to bring Ollie back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it poorly, or he does it like without his soul or something. And I think they do make a trip to heaven.
Supernatural is so much
This
like
is
comics.
in the Kevin Smith Green Arrow run.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Which
make
are
a trip to
sucky.
heaven. And I think Hal says something like, "Are you like cool with this?" And Ollie's like, "Well, considering I'm here and not the other place, I'm actually pretty okay with it." Like, he's like, "Thank God, hey, I made it. I made the cut. I'm in heaven." And he's pretty chill about it. I kind of like, I know there are issues in general with it, but I kind of like in Wonder Woman 84, when Steve comes back, there's a very brief scene where they're walking along whatever you call that, like the Washington Mall or whatever, like those fountains and stuff between the Washington Monument and the Capitol or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know what you call that, but they're walking there. And Diana says, like, "What was it like?" And he says, "I can't describe it, but I remember being in the plane. I remember being somewhere else. I have no words. I have no words for it, but it was good." And I kind of like that idea that because it's a different plane of existence, a different perception, that like, yeah, maybe you can come back. Maybe you can't like just bring a full recollection of it, or even if you do bring a full recollection, that's probably only a version that you can now comprehend on the mortal plane. Like there's always, you're going to leave something there. I kind of like that. I think it's a little poetic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something. It's a very short little line, but I think it's something that Wonder Woman 1984 does super well, which is like they actually like discuss the afterlife in the grittiest superhero universe, and they do it in a really good way.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dig it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question from our favorite religious representative.
Chris Chan.
That's right. Who asks, when Superman died, did Jonathan Kent meet him there in heaven? We literally just talked about this. What was Kismet doing there?
When Superman died, did Pa Kent meet him in heaven?
Superman met Pa Kent in heaven.
Saving the clouds from something in heaven.
Something written by Smith Kevin.
Yeah, okay. It's been a while since I've read this.
Yeah, it's been a while.
This is it's part of Death of Superman. And Pa Kent is there. I remember this panel of him kind of like sternly talking to Clark and saying like, you don't get to just walk into that light. He's like, yeah, like people die. Clark maybe could die, but you're from Krypton. You don't just walk into like
what
he's
a dick.
Well, I know, but he's doing it in the like the Earth needs you, people need you, like kind of thing. But I have a vivid memory of that. They must be in heaven. Or I guess it could also just be like a vision or something, because Superman is in that Kryptonian regeneration chamber. But if you read it that way, it means Superman did die, and then that chamber brings him back. If you don't read it that way, it means he never really died.
Yes.
I kind of like the idea that he did.
He was on the cusp of death, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, or that he did, and then
He got sent back.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter.
yeah, like that. Yeah, yeah. Superman and Pa Kent were just sitting in a train station.
Yeah.
There's a little like fetus of doomsday under the bench.
Nice.
Yeah. The Kismet thing. Kismet is a character who, maybe not at this point in time, but not long after, was sort of transformed into being like was Kismet not the one that became like the spirit of the DC universe?
What?
In a Marvel crossover. Am I making that up? It's either Kismet or Strange Visitor becomes like or maybe they're even the same. I'm blurred. The 90s was a fucking crazy time. But that part of it,
I don't fucking Guns N' Roses. What?
That part of it, I don't actually remember all that
Yeah.
well. What I remember is the Pa Kent saying like, "You can't die, you don't get to walk into the light," kind of thing.
Yeah.
I remember that. So yeah, I think they do meet in heaven. I think Clark dies, and I do think he goes to Earth Heaven. Yeah.
Wow. All right, let's move on. We're leaving Twitter and heading on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
My fucking hands hurt from golfing for the first time in like a year.
Do you ever do something that doesn't hurt you physically?
Oh, I'll show you. No, that's gonna hurt both of us.
Oh, my back.
No, I don't. I only hurt myself lately.
Even recreation is like, I went golfing. Ow.
Look, it's a lot of work. I swing real hard.
Just constantly whiffing.
Yeah. We should go drive to the driving range.
I would love that.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
Now I have two drivers too. I was gifted a new one, so
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, and you finally got the driver working for this mixer.
Don't even talk about that. That's like asking for trouble. Just smoke comes out of it. Like
Alexa, activate self-destruct in mixer.
Fucking such a potential. I love that. I think it was the doc score recently. They were talking about doc. Somebody started like, because somebody's listening back and they started talking about Docmas, and they're like, crazy that you like even got those episodes back. And
oh yeah, when we lost, well, we initially lost 4 episodes.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them back.
just surprisingly not the ones with somebody.
That was a very kind of funny.
I wish that I did it intentionally because it's very funny.
Yeah. I mean, they'll believe you did anyway. There's a lot of you conspiracies on the Discord.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am only one account. First question comes from Cursed Blob.
Ooh, all right.
I got no joke for that. I didn't think about one.
Okay.
Yeah, I still got nothing.
Wow.
No, nothing. No. No. Can you name some angels created just for story purposes that aren't part of actual myth?
Right. I actually think the big one, Zoriel, is not the name of an angel in the Bible.
Yeah, he comes by, he like swipes a Z everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Zoriel. My name is Zoriel.
The original Zoriel was Anthony Hopkins, and then Antonio Banderas becomes the new one.
I'm playing this game, It Takes Two. Anybody who's played this game, it's like a co-op game, and there is an instructional love book that like gains sentience in this game, and it has like a very stereotypical Spanish accent, and I'm very concerned that it might not be a Spanish person who's doing it. I hope it is, and I probably could just Google it, but I haven't. But it's very much like a Antonio Banderas kind of accent.
That's very funny.
It's a good character.
I would say 99% sure that Zoriel is not a biblical angel. This is a character that was created in the 90s.
Crazy time.
And was a member of the JLA and stuff like that, but was a literal angel of heaven. Who came to Earth to fight for Earth. There was a story called Paradise Lost where Zoriel had to fight against the other hosts of heaven, had to fight this angel Asmodel, who was trying to like basically like stage a coup and take over heaven and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like pretty wacky. It's actually a story you would fucking love because it's just like a supernatural kind of thing.
Ooh, me like you.
You would dig that one.
Yeah.
But Zoriel was like a member of the Justice League and stuff like that. And I think ultimately Zoriel has to become mortal, I think, for a bit. The City of Angels kind of situation. Because he doesn't want the world to see him.
Yeah. I don't want the world to see me.
But then I think ultimately Zoriel has to sacrifice himself and die to come back in heaven to like help from heaven kind of thing. Like, yeah, Zoriel's an interesting one. And I'm pretty sure a huge character has shown up a ton, not just in that sort of run from late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Shows up when, all the magic users have to get together, and then like Zoriel will be there to like speak for heaven, and Neron or someone will be there to speak for hell. Like there's those kind of things happen a lot.
United Nations. Of
exactly.
characters.
So Zoriel's a big character and not biblical. There are also biblical angels that show up in DC, like
Castiel.
Oh God.
There's just one thing that I know I could never have.
Oh, Cass.
Thing I love.
I'm trying to think of the name of the one angel that shows up that is also in Supernatural. Duma.
Really?
Yeah, Duma. And then, of course, like the Archangel Michael or Lucifer Morningstar, of course, Metatron, Gabriel. Those characters also show up.
Yeah.
But Zoriel is one that is made up. I'm pretty sure there's another one named Lord Rahl who is also made up.
Yeah.
The setup of heaven in DC is that there's 4 hosts of heaven. There's the bull host, which is sort of like the warriors of heaven. There's the eagle host, which Zoriel is one of. That's why he's got the full wings and stuff. There's the lion host, and I don't remember what they do. And there's the human host.
Wow, he really got the short end of this stick.
Those suck. Yeah. Lord Rahl, I think, is from the lion host. I think he's the only lion host angel that gets like a name. And basically the 4 hosts each have a king angel. Asmodel is the king of the bull host.
But the lion gets the witch in the wardrobe as well.
The wardrobe host. Oh, that's funny. Nice.
All right, let's leave Twitter and head on over to... Nope, we're already there. We went there. We're a Cursed Blob, and then we're moving over to the most interesting resident.
Delgado Andrew.
Yeah, you're looking at the questions. It's not fair. It's not fun when you do that. I can't trick you.
The time for fun has passed. We are Canadian Podcast Award nominees.
It's not just an honor to be nominated. If I don't win, I'm going to fucking stir shit up.
Yeah. I take this seriously.
Yeah. If we don't win,
that's why we talked about St. Peter fucking a goat, because this is serious.
Yeah, that's right. We will riot if we don't win. Cities will burn. Just know you're playing with lives if you don't vote us in.
Jesus Christ. So aggressive. Just a full threat.
Oh yeah, not veiled.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I'm fucking serious.
Good Lord.
Delgado Andrew asks, so if heaven is in the sphere of the gods, outside of all the different all the different earths, is everyone's doppelgangers all there? How about people from retcon timelines?
Right. This is a great question.
Yeah.
So again, these spaces are like conceptual. Yeah. It's not a room. It's not like, are you anyone from any earth and you go to heaven? You all get to sit in the same room together.
You have to all share the same space because you are the same person.
That is not how that works. It's, you would go to like your own little, not even private, but kind of contained.
In private heaven for money, do what you want me.
Wow. But because it's a conceptual kind of space, you could, if you had, like, had a mission, right? We got to get to heaven, and we're going to use like access from heaven to get to a different universe. Like, that shit happens in comics all the time, right? Like, they do it in Dark Knight's Metal, where they try to access the dark multiverse through the Phantom Zone, which is also in the sphere of the gods, because, like, that's where the wall is weakest, or, whatever the fuck the thing is, right? So that's a thing. Like, you could, if it was your mission to go through heaven, to, like, die, go to heaven, and then move over to another, like, realm and see someone else in heaven from another Earth, you could do it. Like, they are technically connected, but it's not like one big waiting room. It's not like this is the end, like, Backstreet Boys party kind of thing, right? Like, it's not like that. I do think, with few exceptions, I mean, it does happen. It happens with magic, and it happens with stuff like that because it's comics. But generally speaking, pretty sure you're supposed to die to get to heaven. I think Zoriel has a quote at some point in the 90s or 2000s where he says, like, the music of heaven will, like, liquefy your organs. Like, the knowledge of the shining city will melt your brain. Like, he's like, if you try to perceive this as a mortal, it will destroy you.
Will you then be able to then enter?
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, it just seems like a painful way to do it.
Like, you go in there and you're just like, whoop. Oh.
You melt, and then you just, like, your spirit pops up. And you're like,
or just, like, your body, like, melts around your spirit. Like,
you're right. Yeah.
You're like, no.
Yeah, interesting point. Or is that an instant hell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At any rate. Now, does that mean that everyone from all your doppelgangers from every Earth? Again, yes, technically, but you won't see them unless you're doing this sort of, like, Mission Impossible kind of thing in heaven, where you're like, I have to get to the other part of heaven kind of thing.
Yeah.
The hyper time thing, the, like, alternate timelines thing, is where it gets messy. According to the rules of hyper time, you can have divergent timelines in one universe, so they're not parallel Earths. These multiple timelines can exist in one universe, and certain aspects of them will end up being true, and they'll work their way back into the main branch. Like, the description is that it's like a river, and sometimes little tributaries flow off, and sometimes they flow back in again, but the main river is the main timeline. My feeling is that if you're a character from an alternate timeline who dies, and that nothing from that timeline feeds back into the tributary, you aren't in heaven.
Whoa.
Or you're in such a pocket heaven so as to be completely inaccessible. You know what I mean? You might be in a heaven in which hypertime also no longer exists.
Whoa.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
That's my reading of it. I don't think anyone's bothered to actually write a rule for it.
Yeah.
Nor should they, but that's how I see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird.
I love the prospect of complete oblivion.
Oh, YouTube? I'm so surprised.
I'm tired, man.
Hunting all these years.
All the lives we could have led. People we could have been.
Could have been a stagehand.
Could have been a contender.
Oh. Let's go to the next question.
Instead, I'm a bum. And that's what I am.
You're just a bum, Rock.
I was doing on the waterfront thing.
You said bum, so.
Yeah, you're just a bum. I mean, fun fact, Mickey from Rocky, Spurgis Meredith, played the Penguin in the 60s. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's why he's always wearing that purple top hat and going like, excellent, Rock. That
makes more sense.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Brady Hicks 77, who asks,
any relation to Taylor?
Oh.
Remember Taylor Hicks?
Yeah.
Topical
What about
reference.
Bill Hicks?
What?
The famous comedian. Do people do...
How did we get nominated for anything? We're so bad at this.
It's Canada.
I don't know that makes it.
It's canon.
Yeah, okay.
Do people like Captain Cold go to heaven or hell in DC? I mean, you can't go to hell. He would freeze over.
Oh, he's the man who mastered absolute zero.
That's right.
Although, according to Dante's Inferno, the lowest circles of hell are frozen. So
that's right.
There's that.
I figured you were the one who mastered absolute zero. Because you are an absolute zero.
I thought it sucks to be you there for some reason.
Sucks to be you.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Wow. Is that a Canadian thing?
Yeah, it was two of the guys from the Philosopher Kings.
Yeah. My wife knows one of them, the drummer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Weird.
Actually, I think my wife might know him too.
Weird.
My wife, I think, also worked like tech or something for a Jarvis Church show one time.
Oh, they had a few good songs. What was the other one?
You make me wanna. Oh, sorry, Prozac.
Yeah.
I was about to go full Philosopher Kings.
No. I don't know any of those.
I got a strange disease.
Oh, yeah.
Bam, bam.
www. dot never get over you. God,
Yeah.
Prozac's a great band. You should check it out.
That weird, like not quite a trend, but there was more than one where the band was animated.
Yeah. Let's start this new podcast called Podzac Cast.
Yeah, Prodscast.
Yeah,
Prodzac.
Procast.
Nope. Ah, fuck.
Procast, that's the one.
So Captain Cold is interesting because this is a guy who is a career criminal, but not necessarily a murderer or evil.
If you're talking about like Legend of Tomorrow, he's a hero.
And even in the comics, he sort of has like, he's got like his heart is kind of in the right place. He makes bad choices. He fell into this life and he's not necessarily equipped to get himself out. But he has this sort of understanding and stuff with the Flash. He will fight for the right cause when
and if like criminals,
push comes to shove.
If criminals like go past the line, he'll stop.
Yeah, when the crime syndicate takes over, he's one of the first to sign up with Luthor to take them down and save the day. You know, like he's that kind of person. So DC does definitively have a purgatory where if you are, if you've done bad deeds, but you got a good heart, you spend some time working that off. Or, you know,
pick up DC trash.
Or if you haven't redeemed yourself enough in life, you go there for a little bit to earn your way to heaven, maybe.
Yeah.
Purgatory is where they find the soul of Hal Jordan.
Oh.
During
why was he doing there?
Well, because Hal Jordan had become Parallax.
Oh, yes.
He had destroyed the Green Lantern Corps, killed a bunch of lanterns. He had tried to wipe out the entire timeline during Zero Hour. He had, hurt people, killed people, lost his way, and then during the events of the final night, in which the sun was attacked by a sun eater and it was like dying and Earth was freezing, Hal ultimately sacrifices himself and uses all of his power as Parallax to reignite the sun.
Whoa. And
he dies. And then later, the Spectre, unhinged from a host, and then connected to the soul of Asmodel, that sort of rogue angel, a sort of second-tier Lucifer kind of character, goes on a rampage. They have to find a new soul for the Spectre. They try and get Corrigan, but it doesn't work anymore. Corrigan can't take the Spectre back, even though he was the host for a long time. They find Hal in Purgatory, and Hal becomes the new host of the Spectre, which is my favorite run of the Spectre. And maybe my favorite era for Hal. I love Hal as the Spectre. I think that's the best version of both of those characters, actually.
Wow.
And
you didn't like when Corrigan started Zwan?
Oh, did anyone? But yeah, so there is a purgatory. That's where Hal was, because again, he was Parallax. He had committed all these bad things, but he had been a hero. He had sacrificed himself to save the day. He just hadn't done enough.
Yeah.
So his soul was in purgatory. So I think Captain Cold feasibly is in purgatory.
Oh, interesting.
Probably not condemned there for as long as a Hal Jordan would have been, kind of thing. But yeah, I think Captain Cold might spend some time in purgatory. I think ultimately he'd earn his way to heaven. I think Leonard Snart generally has a good heart and things like
just
that.
Bad
and
circumstance, potentially.
bad circumstances, bad judgment, things like that. But I don't think he's evil. So I do think he'd work his way there eventually. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Next question comes from Robbie's Just This Gee.
Oh. Oh, he's a French.
Hockey,
He's writing
hockey
in from
player.
Montréal, le Canadien de Montréal,
No, he's from Trois-Rivières.
le troisième étoile, the third star.
Guy Lapointe.
Apologies to Matt Seb, who is from Quebec, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, you guys, I don't like that.
You're getting further from it.
I don't know you guys.
Oh, no.
Is this not it?
No. I think you're doing Burgess Meredith again.
Oui, c'est non.
Excellent. Ah, the poutine.
Robbie's just this guy asks, in a universe that has literal angels and demons, why aren't most people Christian?
This is a fair question. I think because there are also
Other religions. Yeah.
other powers,
Other
there.
gods.
Even if ultimately the presence, who is the god in DC,
Yeah.
Even if the presence is, the Abrahamic God, he's above the source, which means that he created the source, or it means he's the power behind the source, which means for the new gods, the presence is the source.
I'm more of a Radio Shack fan myself.
It means that for people that are Christian, he is God. It means for Muslims, he's Allah. It means for First Nations people, he is the creator. Or it is the creator. You shouldn't keep saying he. It means for Martians, it's, whatever.
The opposite of fire, water man.
Yeah, whatever the name is you want to give to the Martian creator deity or whatever. I think the idea of the presence is that if the presence chooses to appear or chooses to communicate with people, it does it kind of on their terms. We often see it in the context of Christian sort of coded characters like Phantom Stranger, Spectre, things like that, where they're like, these biblical things or whatever. And so I think the presence shows up and is very much the way we would perceive that God to be. But I think if we're talking to, if a story it was not taking place in the States with white people, then the presence might show up and take the form of
like Allah,
an African creator god or whatever, and then would also communicate in that way. Like I like to believe that the presence will appear when needed or when it chooses to. It will appear and communicate in the form of that belief.
Yeah.
So it technically is all things to everyone. I think if you take that principle, there's a reason why not everyone has converted to a religion.
Fair.
Because the presence doesn't just come out and say, you guys kind of fucked it up. You were half right. You were half right. The presence just goes, great.
Yeah.
You're just created. Everything else is spice that you're adding, right?
But some of the presents are from Santa. Some of them are from your grandparents.
Yeah, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about the presents. Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be my rationale.
Yeah.
Then we have these quote unquote lesser gods like Olympians and stuff like that. They can still have, they can still patronize believers, right? Like they could bestow gifts. They can usher them to the
gifts,
the
presents.
Elysian fields, or like a Norse god can get you to Valhalla, or like there are other domains for your soul to go to other than the Christian heaven,
like
so,
www.
and again the presence
domains. Go on. That was
I
good
know
too.
that was good. The presence is not like sitting in heaven. The presence is beyond the sphere of the gods, beyond the monitor sphere, beyond the source wall, which no longer exists, is out in this thing called the overvoid, which is beyond the source. So it's not like God is sitting in heaven, but he's like, you can't come into my party, you can go to that one. The presence is all of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way to read it, and why one religion hasn't just taken over. The publishing reason also is that it's hard enough to get to push for representation, and that it would be a bad move to be like everyone in DC canonically is converted to Christianity because it's right. That's like full Nazi shit.
Yeah. I mean, and if you said canonically are in heaven, so
no, I did not. That's not what I meant.
That's what you said.
I know. I shouldn't have said just following orders. Oh. So many mistakes.
All right, let's leave Instagram and see what kind of mistakes we can make on Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
That's right. From Dr. Flug 87. It was a very good year. It was a very good year.
Jesus Christ. You have such a weird sensibility. Who are you?
I'm everyone.
The presents?
That's right. This one's from Santa. This one's from Daddy. Dr. Fluke.
Just gonna leave that one alone.
Do the people who died and go to heaven have any powers besides eternal life?
Oh, fuck. Interesting.
That's a weird way to think about it, and now I want to know.
Right. So the first thing we should assume
Yeah.
that when we see heaven depicted in this comic, it's obviously for a reason in terms of the story, but it's also for a reason in continuity. I don't like the idea that, like, let's say Green Arrow dies and then he's just like walking around and he's like, I just got shit to do now in heaven. I don't like that. I like the idea of just like, he's just part of this fabric or knowledge or consciousness or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then when someone goes to get him, it kind of manifests as like a field or somewhere where they can talk. That's A, for us to perceive as readers, but also for them to perceive and interact because they are familiar with that from their mortal life.
It's a thing that I love
what
from
I mean?
The Good Place.
Yeah.
Did you watch the last season? Yeah, where they like, or people like, just let me like go.
Yeah. Like I think I like that idea.
Yeah.
So then following that, I think you may not technically have powers. But if we're manifesting just things that are familiar, there's no reason that, let's say, Superman in heaven can't just go like, up, and away, and then like fly in the heavenscape, right?
Yeah.
Or, or freeze breath a snow cone or something. Because technically none of those things exist. But it's just, like,
there's no anybody else?
There's not a real, but what I'm saying is there's not a real snow cone. There's not a real thing. Yeah. If you're not dead and you make it to heaven, I think you keep your powers, but I don't know that they work great because, again, you're in this sort of conceptual realm. I think it'll depend on the writer and it'll depend on what's happening. But I think I guess it would depend on how real that perception is made.
Yeah.
If the magic's strong enough to get a mortal to heaven and you see the shining city and you bang on the door and you have super strength, I think you could rip the door off its hinges.
Wow,
but
really?
like, if it's more ethereal than that, then like your super strength's not going to do anything.
Yeah.
If the angels just have to will it to be stronger, then yeah, you might have super strength, but you're fighting an idea, right? It's like being in the fifth dimension, like where Mrs. Pitlick is from and stuff like that. Is a little more, it's that kind of high concept sort of esoteric thing a little.
You kill me, but you can't kill the idea.
Yeah, you can't kill an idea. Fun fact.
As hard as I try.
Which is how we got to 242 episodes.
That's right. You could stop listening, but you can't kill the idea.
Yeah. If you strike us down,
yeah,
we shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
We record a podcast, no one listens. Was it ever made?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Reddit into the Discord. And go. And go.
Oh, doxing about all our golden years.
Wow.
It was only ducks and scored.
You actually had that, like,
we were
in the
ducks
chamber.
and scored and free.
I'm surprised you didn't go with, like, she's my dog score.
I went with this one because the song is called Heaven.
Wow. That's some forethought. You thought about it before.
No, it's just because I sang it earlier.
Oh.
So
Fair.
yeah.
On the dock.
She's my duck scored pie.
Oh, that feels wrong. Doc's cord pie.
Cool drinking ducks with a sweets and scored.
Flawless victory.
Did I tell you about? I was playing this just kind of pun game with some friends where we were like, it was like Shakespearean ice cream shop. And you had to come up with like puns.
Oh God, you fucking love that.
I did, but I'm also bad at it.
Really?
I'm good at it, but I also fucked it up. Because you know the thing where you start saying a thing, but you don't have the landing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's called this
There's
podcast.
a Shakespeare play called Titus Andronicus. I was like, I have a name for the ice cream place. And I was like, Tight Ice. And I was like, yeah. And then I went, it was like Tight Ice and Dronic Cream.
That's exactly what went in my head.
And that was what I had. I was like, even Tight Ice Cream Dronicus is better. Because at least ice cream is together.
Yeah.
Tight Ice Cream Dronic. But I was like, Tight Ice and Dronic Cream.
That's what came to my head.
Yeah.
So. Well, at least we.
That's how I feel when I do these Doc Squad things.
Yeah. You're like, I
can never land that plane.
Yeah. You start strong, and then it's like, oh, I don't know where I'm going for this. Yeah, you're literally building the railroad as you're driving the train.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're like, I hope I have enough pieces to get across this ravine.
And I am no John Henry.
God, no. No, the machine always wins. Beep, boop, boop, boop. Like a machine.
The least threatening.
Oh, here I come.
Like a fucking speak and spell.
Beep, boop, 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 boop. You're in trouble now. Beep, boop, boop, boop. It's getting louder. Beep, beep, beep.
What did we get from the Doc Squad?
Well, the first question comes from Bruno.
Heyo.
Yeah, let's see what he slaps our hand about this time.
Speaking of hands.
Oh, the hand of creation, as seen in Crisis on Infinite Earths. What was that? The hand of the presence or something else?
Right. So there's a thing in DC where if you go back in time and you look at the moment of creation, that's like a big no-no.
Yeah.
The rogue guardian Krona does it, and it creates the multiverse.
I love those donuts. The Krona.
Yeah, at the CNE.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always depicted as this hand kind of holding, it looks like atoms or solar systems or things like that. Yeah. Krona does it, and witnessing that moment of creation creates the multiverse. It fractures reality into infinite Earths. It wakes up the Anti-Monitor. It's the thing that kicks off the crisis.
Jeez.
And that hand, that moment, we see it in a lot of other things. We see it in Crisis when the Spectre fights the Anti-Monitor at the beginning of time.
Yeah.
We've seen it. It's become this sort of visual language to represent the moment of creation in DCs. You always see this hand. Mm-hmm. I think, generally, for a long time, you were meant to infer that is the presence. It is now, though, canonically not.
What?
Because in death metal, we learn that there are these beings in the omniverse. So there's the multiverse, but then we learned that there's multiverses.
Oh, Jesus.
So they're part of the omniverse. And in the omniverse, there are these beings that are called the Hands. They're called the Hands of the Omniverse.
Okay.
And so we learn in death metal that hand at the moment of creation, the one that Krona saw, the one that kicks off the crisis, that was the hand of Perpetua, the being that created that multiverse.
Yeah.
There are lots of hands that create different multiverses, but it was actually Perpetua's hand that we saw is the sort of retcon now. The presence is now even further removed, right? Because we've got your lesser gods, your Olympian gods, you're the new gods, stuff like that.
It's like a guy with a lot of families.
We've got
right?
the monitors, and that's kind of like multiversal. And then we've got the hands of the omniverse, which are like up here. Then we've got the source, the hands of the source. So it's like the hands are kind of like manifestations of the source. And then above that, in the overvoid, we have the presence.
The presence is like a salesman from the 50s or something. Like, he's got families all over the United States. He's just like multiverses everywhere. He's just like, I can't be everywhere at once. Like, you'll see me once in a while, but like, I'll throw you a baseball every 6 years.
But again, I think it's the thing where we got to think of the presence as just this like impossible energy and consciousness if it ever manifests, you're only getting like an aspect of it because it's infinite.
Yes.
And I think that's a thing in like Hindu religion, that there's like two words for God, and one is for like the idea of just the energy of creation, and there's one for like whatever you would see that you could comprehend.
Whoa.
Like I think that's I might be getting it kind of wrong, but I seem to remember that's like a piece of that religion.
Wow.
And I think that's how you got to think of the presence. Yeah. But yeah, so technically the hand of creation is Perpetua, because that was just our multiverse.
Wow.
And she's the one that created it.
What a fucking mind fuck.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question from the other Ryan, who asks, is the god of DC being portrayed as a Scottish Terrier smart or just dumb? How many DC characters have actually had conversations with God?
Yeah. I don't know if it's only a New 52 thing, but it was definitely a prominent New 52 thing.
Really?
That the presence would show up in the form of a little Scotty dog.
I mean, that's very cute.
It's adorable.
I like that God is also...
And like Phantom Stranger would be like, why are you making me do this? And he'd be like, oh, there's a little plan. And he's like, you'll walk around like, woof, woof.
I like that's sort of God like agreeing with like the genetic like fuckery that is like domesticating dogs and like mixing and matching like.
Yeah. I love that you guys played God.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Big fan
of that.
Yeah. Eugenics, I'm on board.
Yeah.
How do you think I got you guys?
I mean, true. Yeah.
I mean, technically, in the DC history, humans and Martians weren't meant to be two separate species.
Whoa.
In the original multiverse Perpetua created, they were an apex species.
Whoa.
And then
humans.
And then
when
she was defeated, they split them apart so that they couldn't reach their full potential.
Jeez, so they could be worse than what Martians already are? They could be more powerful?
Oh, yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, Lex Luthor gets to become one of these apex beings. Goes by Apex Lex for a bit.
Nice. I mean, good name.
Great name.
Yeah. But also kind of like a wrestling name from the 90s.
Yeah. That's Apex Lex's music. Oh, yeah. Roll, I keep rolling.
Nice. Sexy Lexi.
I would love to be a wrestler just to pick bad entrance music.
Yeah.
Yeah. The landslide brought me down. It's the Sad Boys music. And I just slowly saunter in. Can you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills?
Woo! Nice.
Oh, he just gave up off the turnbuckle.
I cut you so I can feel.
I would be the sad boy. That would be my wrestling name.
That'd be a good name.
Yeah. It'd be a lot of that, like, using their weight against them kind of thing. And just sort of slump. And
He's using his ability called Bright Eyes.
This is the first day of my life.
That's a great song.
That's my wife and I's first dance.
Really?
That's our wedding song. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're cute.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, do you think that idea is stupid, though?
I mean, yeah, it's objectively stupid.
I don't know that it is. I mean, God is already stooping a lot of levels down if he's going to talk to any of us.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, actually a power move to be like, yeah, I'm a little fucking dog. You wouldn't respect me if I wasn't God, but I can fucking blink you out of existence.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? By the way, where's my treats? Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of a power move.
I mean, from that perspective, it's kind of interesting.
You know what I mean? I love the idea of just that infinite power in this little form. I think it's part of a way that you would draw or indicate a degree of humility.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you may or may not want to actually ascribe to God, but in those cases, he's that's generally them trying to depict him as a little bit more.
Fair.
There's a big plan. I know this seems rough right now, but trust me, it's all necessary.
Yeah.
That's, since you're trying to soften God anyway, I think it's kind of smart.
Nice.
It's also just more interesting than just like another guy.
Yeah.
Or even woman. Like, it's just another human where it's like, is it the frizzy hair? Is it the Miss Frizzle looking one? Is that God?
Yeah, but what if God was one of us?
Right. Just a slob like one of us.
Yeah. Just a stranger, all of us.
Trying to make his way home.
Next question comes from We've Only Just Done, who asks, has Zoriel made any appearances post Flashpoint?
Yes, Zoriel has.
And what is his best story?
Oh, fuck. I mean, the best story... Zoriel's kind of interesting when you get into, I can't remember the name of the story, but where like Mageddon shows up and stuff like that. And that's got Aztec involved in that story too. There's like some characters I dig in there.
I want Mageddon to become a pirate, so he's Armageddon.
Or he's got this pony,
Okay.
and he wants his friend Arma to ride it. So he says, Arma, get on.
Yeah. Or he's got his friend Arma and he gets a new car and he's like, Arma, get in.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, Zoriel has appeared post Flashpoint.
Yeah.
He's still a character, and I think you see Zoriel like through Metal or Death Metal or something like that, like in a panel somewhere, like not necessarily prominently, but I'm pretty sure you see them somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Best story. I do like that Mageddon story. It's, I mean, so of its time. It's that very kind of early 2000s. I think it's early 2000s. It's got that kind of energy, right? I like that story. I do like Aztec in there too. Paradise Lost is the story with Asmodel trying to take over heaven and Zoriel having to fight the Pax Dei, which is the full host of heaven kind of thing. That's a cool story, and Zoriel is obviously key to it. I think those two are kind of the big ones. Other than that, I think it's just like neat appearances or things like that. But I think those are the two big kind of stories.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the last question from Mullet Overlord. The only Overlord I appreciate. The only my only presence has a mullet.
Yeah.
The only one I
a Scotty dog with a mullet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute little puppy in the front. Fucking wild pony in the back.
It's a pony too. It's like a dog centaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill me.
Yeah. I thought we agreed that God liked eugenics, not this.
Yeah, no, he loves any.
By the way, in No Man's Sky, I've started getting into eugenics.
Really?
I've been doing it.
Of course. I remember when you found out that was a thing, you were like, holy shit.
I've already made 3 abominations.
And then you got out of the bathroom and started playing No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I plunged them.
Yeah, plunge, because that's how you deal with shits. I think canonically you don't.
How dare you? Subscribe on Patreon for context.
Yeah, if you want to understand the doctor's shits more.
What does Mullet Overlord ask?
Oh, doesn't matter. Is it
No, you're right. We should move on.
Nice. That's it.
Hey, at least Dan Dunn got his question in.
Damn it. I'll edit it
I was
out.
waiting to see if you were going to do it.
I know, it's been a while. Is it true that Morrison only put Zoriel in the JLA because they couldn't use Hawkman? And if so, how wild is it that editorial considered the Hawks to be more confusing than having Abrahamic angels in a book with Wonder Woman and Superman?
As far as I know, yes, that is true. Hawkman, for a period of time, the Hawks were considered to be too convoluted, too broken a continuity, and
Which
they were
is
just
true.
Like, they were just like told not to use them.
That is true.
So Morrison created Zoriel as like a Hawk stand-in. Here's an angel. He wasn't trying to weren't trying to like revamp them. Like, this angel wasn't named Carter Hall.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a reinvention. It was just like, we want a flying wing character. Here's an angel.
Yeah.
A new idea, right? Or a new take on an idea. That part is true. Is it crazy? No. I mean, I guess the idea of an angel is crazy, but it's not complicated. Like, we have a cultural understanding of angels.
Yeah.
Even if we're not fully religious or whatever, we kind of get the deal. And it's pretty straightforward. As an angel comes to Earth, there are hosts of angels. Some of them are warriors. You go, great, awesome. That is definitively less convoluted than the Hawks continuity at that point in time, which was both the ancient Egyptian thing conflicting with the Thanagarian thing, conflicting with the Hawk Avatar thing, where the timeline doesn't add up or things like that. And this is before we got Robert Venditti to look at it and just go, oh, they reincarnate and cross time and space.
Yeah.
And then instantly unravel it. Like, I mean, at the time, it's a wacky idea to have an angel, but it's not more complicated.
Fair.
Right? Like, it's actually a pretty ingenious. It's not even necessarily a solution. You're still not using Hawkman, but you get the aesthetic of someone with wings. It's a cool design. Hawkman and Hawkgirl have always had a dope design. So you want to get that idea, but now it's like white and gold and that kind of like shining light kind of thing. Like if anything, Zoriel is kind of almost a cooler design.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's Hawk. The Hawks are kind of classic, but there's something fucking dope about Zoriel, right? I think it's cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that was the last question, which you know what time it is.
I do.
Can you guess the name of the character? Well, it's been a while since I fucked that up. Can you guess the name of the character based on if someone who does not read comic books can describe that character to us? Yeah, I'll just go kill myself.
I guess we can kiss that win goodbye.
Yeah, that was it. That was
it.
the moment.
They made it all the way through
Like,
this fucking episode.
yeah.
And then they were like, no, do you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah. These guys need to get their shit together.
I stuck with them when they accidentally said Nazis get into heaven.
Yeah. I saw where they were coming from, but this?
Not this.
No.
Messing up your segment name?
Yeah.
Unforgivable.
Let's see if I can redeem it. If you do not know what the segment is, judges, I send a photo of a DC character to my wife who does not read comic books, nor does she care for them. She sends back 4 clues describing what she sees. The doctor tries to guess who it is.
Yes. I barely got it last week.
I mean, yeah, and I had to help you.
I mean, no, you didn't. I fucking got it.
With an extra clue. That I had to help you.
Yeah, fuck.
So, are you ready for some clues?
Yes, baby.
All right. Clue number 1 has eggs on his shirt.
Is it Egghead?
No.
He has eggs on his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Polka Dot Man or
No.
okay.
No. Clue number 2.
Sure.
Less helpful. Middle-aged dumb white guy.
I mean, that could be anybody. Eggs on his shirt. Middle-aged dumb white guy. Eggs on his shirt. That's really fucking me up. Eggs on his shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like egg shapes or eggs?
That's not what I'm here for.
Fuck you.
Look, if you can't handle the clue.
How dare you? I actually don't even have a guess right now. I need another clue.
Plays disc golf.
Eggs. White guy. Discs. It's not we're not talking about like a new god with like the hovered like those arrow discs or something, are we? It's not like Kanto, is it?
No. I like this move you're doing right
discs.
now. Yeah.
Eggs.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I want to think this is maybe like a Legion thing.
Mm.
Or it's not really discs, but it's like when an artist draws a power thing and it looks like a circle around someone's hand. Fuck. I'm just going to throw stuff out there. Sunboy.
No.
It's not Wildfire.
No.
Discs.
Yeah.
Egg. Firestorm?
No.
Give me the last clue.
Neapolitan man.
I think I'm further from it.
It's funny. You've actually gotten pretty close.
Pretty close. I feel like I was close with Sunboy, or closest with Sunboy as I have been. Which I guess means Legion or Substitute Legion. Color Kid.
No. Oh, that's a bad name.
Not Colored Kid.
Okay.
Jesus. Good Lord.
It's just
Good God.
It's a random.
You Colored Kid into action. That's so vile.
The name's Wally West. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord. Okay, I'm close. And two of the characters I named are kind of fire sort of related. I think I'm on Element Lad.
No.
Metamorpho?
No.
No. The Neapolitan thing. Fuck. Is it Element Girl?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, it's a guy.
Okay. Fuck. Is Neapolitan eggs, discs.
Oh, I really thought you were ramping up.
No,
something.
I'm getting further from every time I say something, I'm more dismayed. Should I know who this is?
Yes.
Like pretty big,
They're not that big,
but I definitely know who this is.
yes, 100%. I will say this is I would think a more prevalent version of this character, but an older version of this character.
Right. Okay. Eggs, Neapolitan, prevalent version of a character, but an older version of a character.
Yeah.
It's not like the Brainiac look, like an old Brainiac look or something.
No.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Are you yielding?
Yeah, I yield.
Wow. All right. Are you ready to see?
Yeah. Motherfucker.
You were so close.
Motherfucker. It was Cosmic Boy. Son of a bitch. It was Cosmic Boy.
That's right. Cosmic Boy is a fictional character, a comic book superhero in the 30th and 31st century in DC Comics universe. He is a founding member
I was
of
right
the
about
Legion
the
of
fucking disc
Superheroes.
thing. That it wasn't an actual disc. It was like an energy thing because he's got fucking magnet powers.
Yep. And the original leader in all incarnations of the Legion. You were so close.
And Neapolitan because he had that black and white and purple costume. Fuck.
You were so close.
Fuck. Fucking Cosmic Boy.
Oh my God.
Son of a bitch.
That was a good one. God, yeah, that was fucking. You were so like, what was the one boy you said it? I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, Sun Boy.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, you could. It's basically saying Cosmic Boy.
Oh,
Oh, I loved that.
Damn it.
I would love to know if you residents got that.
I mean, they didn't. If I didn't, maybe.
Well, prove him wrong. Prove him so wrong.
By just saying you got it.
Yeah, just lie.
Make me feel bad.
Just make him feel bad. We'd love to hear from you, or maybe you could send us a question for next week's episode.
Yeah, next week we're talking about the Vega system. It's a very specific.
What happens in the Vega system stays in the Vega system.
That's right. Viva Las Vegas system. It's a specific like solar system in DC that is chock full of shit. It's like it's where the Orange Lanterns are.
Whoa.
It's where Tamaran is, like Starfire's planet. It's where the Omega Men and the Citadel are. It's a very like densely packed corner of space in DC.
Whoa.
So any questions about anything in the Vega system?
Holy shit.
Send that for next week.
Yeah, you can do so through our various social media platforms like our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Twitter,
At Dr. DC.
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast?
email,
r/Dr_DC?
Reddit.
Oh, r/Dr_DC. The other one was drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
When the doctor phone is open.
208-917-3238.
Our website.
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
You can give us more 5-star reviews.
Yeah, give us those reviews. If they're not on iTunes or Facebook, make sure you send a screenshot so that we know that you did it. But yeah, keep them coming.
Or you can send us an email.
We already did that.
You can send
You
us physical.
stupid teenager.
You could send us mail, sir.
301 Hogue Street. That's Hoge Street in Whitehorse, Yukon. Y1A.
1v8.
Yeah,
Woo!
baby.
Let's party.
And you can give us money.
Yeah, give us money.
On Patreon, patreon.com/DrDC. $1, $5, $7 levels. There's all sorts of extra bonus stuff. You get access to the Doc Squad, our amazing fan community. There are bonus episodes, there's videos, there's theme polls, there's all sorts of fun stuff, and it helps support us and what we do here and what we do on the main feed and what we do on our other podcast, Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch.
Yeah, let us feed you.
Oh no. Feed me, Krellborn. Feed me now.
Also, we have a whole other podcast.
I just said that. It's Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch. God, you're old again, huh? Memory's going.
Where am I?
We talk about every single episode
I'm
of Supernatural.
scared.
We're rewatching all of them. We do real world monster lore. We talk about behind the scenes stuff about the production. It's a ton of fun. Go check it out wherever you get your podcasts. Adios.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.